I welcome everyone and thank you for joining our Brown Bag event today. I would like to acknowledge that this quiz does its work for Canadian from the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam nations. This acknowledgement is a reminder of the discriminatory, racist, and colonial practices that have had a lasting legacy and continue to create barriers for Indigenous peoples and communities in our city. In the next few days, I encourage you to learn a bit more about the land we live on and personalize your connection to the territories on which we have settled. I would like to welcome our speaker, Heather Gamble. Congratulations to you, Heather, and to your team for the Sustainable Development Goal Award. She funded her first entrepreneurial venture and in less than 18 months reached $1 million in revenue. This milestone enabled her to enjoy a smoother and more sustainable entrepreneurial journey. She contributes her success to her background of more than 20 years working in professional sales and marketing with disruptive and innovative technologies. She gained a wealth of experience at AT&T by successfully bringing a series of innovative technologies to the market and driving sustainable revenue stream. She held several VP of sales and marketing roles of the leading and startup technology companies by her late 30s. Welcome again, Heather, and I would like to invite you to get the floor. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that beautiful welcome and introduction and the warm welcome as we were gathering here in the call today. I would just like to say I am extremely honored to be here, and I thank you so much for welcoming me, welcoming Artemis, welcoming Women on the Move, and welcoming our messages around entrepreneurship and sharing with you today. I am going to share my screen as I have put something together for you. So just want to make sure that someone can just confirm for me that we are A-OK on the screen.
Yes, perfect.
Excellent. Okay. So we have an hour together, a little under an hour, but I'm going to go through things. I imagine that generally we have lots of questions. So I'll look forward to getting into our questions. And again, we're here. It's a safe space. It's for us to talk about and express our feelings, thoughts, desires, anything we want, barriers, challenges, etc. You're going to hear the real deal because that's the way we roll. Very transparent. So what I'm going to share with you today, our agenda, I'm going to just talk a little bit about industry current state, specifically as it relates to women in STEM. And then I'm going to share with you a little bit about why become an entrepreneur. I'm going to give you a little background, and the background is a case study called Artemis Project. Talk about our origin story, our evolution, and where we're headed, and then we'll dive into some questions and comments and whatever else that you would like to. This is for you. The value here is for every single one of you in our audience that are these incredible women in STEM. So I want you to know before we begin, I never considered myself a woman in STEM. I don't even know if that term came around or was around when I started my career. But I'll share with you, I'm 58 years old, so that gives you an idea of when I started. And when I did start, I started in technology and in a really exciting area and at AT&T. And if you can believe this, there was no video conferencing. There was no fax machine. There was no voicemail. And somehow I had the opportunity to stand up and say, you know what? I'm kind of interested in this new technology stuff. I'm going to bring it to market and I want to be a part of that. So I am the person that started video conferencing in Canada, not certainly designing anything, but bringing it to market. And we had at that time when I think this is incredible what we have as a tool today. What we had back then was a tool called video conferencing that it would have cost at least $500,000 to just get in the game. So we're coming from and we're coming to an incredible era where we all can connect. We can connect in relevant ways. We can connect where we can hear one another, see one another in a way that when I began my career in tech, was only a promise. It was a dream. And we imagine, wow, can you imagine someday to work from the beach or work somewhere else? I mean, those were all dreams. However, you and all other women, men, STEM, and all other participants have really evolved our whole technology revolution in such a way that this is so incredible that we get to see these tools and be able to really collaborate and empower one another to the way that we need. So I just want to share, I shared that context because, again, there were very few women along my journey. And I want you to know that there's more women in STEM than ever before, which is really great since you're all here to be able to support yourselves. However, I want you to know, just in case you don't, that women in STEM are wanted, needed, and you're in the highest demand of all across all STEM related industries. It's you. You are the hot commodity. So I want you to know that, and I want you to come from a stance from that. And I want you to know that every dream that you are thinking about, your visions, your aspirations, you're going to do it faster than I ever did. So you are equipped, you're enabled, and we're just going to take the next time here together and just give us a little bit more empowerment to all of us. So where I want to go in is, again, current state, you're it. You are it. So you're all it, meaning you're highly desirable, and really it's your playing field that we want to equalize out there. So I just want to take us back before we get in. I did presentation last year in International Women's Day, and I thought this was for another STEM-based organization. And one of I just love this prediction of Tesla's. And he, way back when he was inventing all the technologies that he did, he felt that wireless technology would empower women and liberate us to bring on our full intellectual capacities. So, and this is an article or, publication called When Women is Boss. I've referred it here if anyone wants further information from Brain Pickings, but it is absolutely delightful. That was what his thinking was way back when. And the part that I like the most is that women will ignore precedent and startle civilization with their progress. And I believe each and every single one of you are here to startle, and nothing less will do. Current state. So what is current state? What I mean by that is specifically over across industries, STEM-related industries, what's going on as it relates to women. And this is just three not minor, but examples of showing there was no such thing even as diversity when I was climbing that corporate ladder. There was diversity? No, you had to, prove, or you just had to. It's all about the performance and the financial performance. However, what we've seen, and especially over the past 5 years, enormous efforts coming up and recognizing that women are, and we need women to participate to full degree in our society called equality. So there's many, many initiatives that have come about, that are gaining strength, incredible momentum to do what? To level the playing field. It's not about because we're women, has nothing to do with that. It's called equal opportunity for all. And you happen to be, the collective group of women in STEM happen to be underrepresented. You're underrepresented in corporate boards, underrepresented in senior leadership position, underrepresented. So the whole effort around these gender programs are to give you a level playing field. It has nothing to do with tokenism because we're female. It's a level playing field. So I'd just like to share that because sometimes people think, oh, we're asking because we're women. It has nothing to do with that. And yet everything to do with that because we're not equally represented. So one of the things I like to share with you, again, it's just as a tool, is there was some fantastic research done, and it is the most comprehensive report on women in male-dominated industries. And clearly, women in STEM, we're working in male-dominated industries. So I really encourage all of you to for who are interested in diving deeper in looking at a global perspective and seeing what is going on in male dominated industries as it relates to leveling the playing field. And I encourage and we've done lots of research in our journey and continue. This is by far the most evidence based, comprehensive report. Has anyone seen this before? Women as Levers of Change. It was done by Foreign Policy Analytics out of the US. It has been shared globally, and it will be soon to be shared within the mining sector that we work in shortly. But again, it is fantastic research, and I encourage you to dive in to learn more. It is a global study, and it was built on a ton of data, very in-depth one-on-one interviews, and they surveyed women across all stages of their careers, again, in male-dominated industries. And the purpose was really to showcase, bring to the forefront what is going on with gender equality or inequality. What are the ways that women have been advancing? What are the positive outcomes? What are the areas we're still stuck? And then how to address them. So very powerful. So I just am bringing you one slide of this because it just summarizes to say some of the factors that will prevent a more level playing field. And this is what is being reported today. And you can see on your screen that the top one usually is around retention. So many women get into STEM, get into your various careers in various ways. And as you progress and through different stages of your life, the fact that you may look for an alternative other than working for a company and decide to take a different course of action. So retention is number one. Many, many women opt out and choose other options for their careers, especially we see this between 35 and 40 and after 40. So again, you can dive into that report to see some of the indicators that are being reported on and being socialized that really affect our ability to provide a level playing field. Within that report as well, I'd just like to bring out that it does talk about not only women on boards, women in senior leadership, women in management position. It also is the first report to bring in women entrepreneurs. And they did that, and they picked our organization. They said it was, from their perspective, one of the best examples of what we've done for female entrepreneurs. So again, in that report, you'll hear about women and female entrepreneurs, and it's generally related to, and if we think about female entrepreneurs selling to large corporate supply chains. So I really encourage you to dive deeper, as well as you'll see some of the case studies that are in this report are from Artemis members, which I'll explain further. So, okay, so I'm saying, what is Artemis Project? I did start a business accelerator called Women on the Move. I started that 6 years ago. I started because I felt I wanted to do something extremely purposeful. Again, I'm older in my career, and I thought for the rest of my time, I want to be doing the most meaningful work that I can, purposeful. And I decided, okay, I think that's cool. I'm going to go help other women entrepreneurs be entrepreneurs and be sustainable. And specifically, what I saw was that I didn't feel that any of the organizations that were out there supporting women entrepreneurs were really doing what I felt I wanted to do. So what do you do in that circumstance? You start your own business. You start your own venture. So I started Women on the Move 6 years ago. Women on the Move was a full physical place where you could go for co-working, coaching, so many programs, training, etc. And as well as I personally worked with many high potential entrepreneurs. And one of the first ones that we started working with was a female mining engineer. And so someone said, they said, they called me and they said, Heather, we think you could really help this entrepreneur. Here's her characteristics. She's in mining. She speaks 4 languages. She does a lot of work in Chile. And I thought, well, I'm in High Park, Toronto. I speak 1 language and I don't know a thing about mining. So what does an entrepreneur say? Yes, sounds great. I didn't have a clue about mining, but I knew this was an opportunity and we're going to do some good work together. So what happened? Again, less than 1% of female entrepreneurs ever reach $1 million in revenue. Why I bring this up is because $1 million in revenue. When I did my first business, I reached $1 million in under 2 years. And why it's important? It's important because that level of revenue, you really do have a sustainable business. So you have something that can really carry you forward for several years. So my first call out is for female entrepreneurs is go for $1 million. It's no big deal. It really isn't. And it sounds like a lot. Maybe it's not. And you can get there. And that's why I opened my business accelerator. Anyhow, working with our mining engineer, we moved her to $1 million in 18 months. We learned a bit about mining, learned a lot about Chile, spent a lot of time there. And then we got curious because I had several women entrepreneurs coming up in mining and saying, can you help me? Can you help me? And I just felt I'm 1 person. I need some way to bring about systemic change, not 1-to-1 coaching change. So I just challenge myself, challenge those around me, and thinking, what can we do that is different and we can drive outcomes for these incredible women in STEM entrepreneurs? And at that time, we focused in the mining sector, which, by the way, is probably the most laggard sector as it relates to level playing fields for women. So I thought, nothing like a challenge, right? Take the hardest sector, give that a challenge, give it a go and see what we can do. And if we can do mining, we can do anything. So Artemis Project was started as a way to advance women entrepreneurs in the very male-dominated industry called mining. Our vision is we want by 2030, yes, we're very aligned with the UN SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. It's another it's the world's largest sustainability project. I encourage everyone to learn more about the UN SDGs. And our vision is we imagine that mining industry is a world-class contributor to the UN SDGs. In a nutshell, the UN SDGs say that by 2030, with several initiatives, there's 17 key goals and many sub-goals, but basically most countries are bought into the UN SDGs. And if we adhere to these goals by 2030, we hope to have a world that does not have poverty, that provides equal access across and prosperity for all equal. So we like that. That's our vision. We want mining to contribute that. We see business as a huge lever in actualizing those goals, and certainly with mining. So we think that women entrepreneurs and more women getting into mining will really accelerate the role that mining can play in bringing about a truly sustainable, more equalized world. So that's our vision. How we're doing it is we're creating sustainable, scalable system to raise visibility and outcomes between women entrepreneurs and mid to large tier mining companies. So the origin story. This is right down here is Laura Matola. She was my first mining engineer that came and wanted to scale her business. And this picture on the right is a picture of one of many conferences and executive roundtables that we did in Santiago and Chile. So Artemis Project started because we saw a problem. we saw an opportunity, and we got together to craft some solution. So the problem is, how can we bring systemic change to mining for all female entrepreneurs in STEM that are serving the mining industry? How do we do that? And then we saw further, we did a lot more research and found out that procurement programs, meaning when female entrepreneurs sell to large corporations, they have the opportunity to increase their own sustainability and revenue by more than 250%. All this to say that we saw if we could facilitate outcomes between female entrepreneurs and mid to large tier mining companies at very senior levels, all our entrepreneurs would have an opportunity to have more sustainable businesses, increase their revenue by 250%. We saw a huge opportunity and a huge lever. So we said, specifically, we found out that current evidence says less than 1% of these large corporate supply chains ever work with women-owned businesses. 1%. And yet, the ones that do work with women-owned businesses and have diversified their supply chain, they have a huge notable, significant improvement in their profitability. So what does this tell us? We have 99% way to go. So we thought this is a massive, massive opportunity, and we're going to do it. So again, so how do you get started? All sounds great, but how do you really operationally get started? Well, I went to some mining companies. And again, I wasn't from mining. I went to very senior leaders in mining. I said, look, this is what I want to do. And I want you to support me with a little bit of funding, and we do a trial. So we did, and we set up in 2017, a pilot of women entrepreneurs based in Santiago, Chile. We worked with them. We built their capacity for training, or training, sales leadership, and then we brought them up on a trade delegation, 2018. And that trade delegation, I mean, that's a picture of one of our trade delegation meetings. I mean, it was incredible success, and not just on a professional level. These women bonded. They bonded with us. We will be lifelong friends. And it's the first time that most of these women had ever seen snow. I mean, the most basic things, and we just had the most incredible time through our delegation. But what it showed us was when we were successful and driving outcomes, then we went back to our sponsor and said, here's what happened. And they said, okay, we want you to launch in Canada. So we launched in Canada, launched in Toronto, did all kinds of activities, got connected with Brazil, won a UN SDG award or a fund award to do the work. Started doing our website, and then we started getting founding sponsors. So again, I'm just sharing very operationally with you how this thing happened. It didn't happen overnight, and it happened in a phased approach, and working in a multi-stakeholder environment where we worked with the industry, we worked with thought leaders in women in mining, we worked with multiple different channels to bring it all together and make this happen. So current state, this is our ecosystem, what it looks like today. And actually it's changing all the time because we have Artemis Member Collective. These are our women entrepreneurs. I have even the number 50 here. We're already over 65. We put an effort on late last fall to accelerate our presence. And Ingrid, who is a member of your organization on the call today, is a prime example of the type of an entrepreneur that we are going out, looking for, recruiting, working with, and then bringing them into Artemis. So Ingrid and her peers, if you will, we did an expansion into Brazil, Chile, UK, beginning in Australia, and we will be expanding to Russia. So I'll share more about that. But that started late last fall. Late last fall, we were at about 35 members. And again, we've almost doubled our growth in a very short period of time. So once you do get momentum as an entrepreneur, it happens really fast. We're very fortunate. We have our members, we have mining companies, and again, some very large key names and sponsors, really advocates to work with us is absolutely critical. And then we have a whole host of strategic partners who, and again, it's through this working with these multi-stakeholders that we have such a successful model that we're now able to scale. So what do we have right now? We have award-winning social natural scientists within Artemis. There's over 900 years collectively in experience. They're boots on the ground globetrotters. These women have been all over the world in the most remote locations, and that's what they thrive on. To me, it's like they are adventurers and explorers like I've never met before. They're agile innovators. We have a common cause, and like our common cause is we all want to see more ethical mining. We all want to see more responsible mining. And here's the deal. If it doesn't come out of the ground, if it's not extracted in a responsible way, there is no way that we can move this world to a more sustainable world. Mining is a critical industry. And again, it's got to come out of the ground responsibly. So that's our common cause. All these women do very different things in mining, products, services, and solutions. However, we all share that common cause. I call it the ethical economy, towards moving mining to a more ethical economy. They're awesome. I think all you women in STEM, I think you're amazing. And I think you're amazing to be role models for our next generation, for our existing generation. You extremely studied, you're committed, and you're pushing against a tough industry. So, and you don't stop. So enormous resilience, relentlessness. And so I believe you're all incredible role models. 75% of our network at Artemis are engineers. And again, we're upwards to 65, getting close to 70 members. So one of the things I want to share with you is how do we demonstrate that common cause bond of ethical mining? I aligned this to the UN SDGs about 2.5 years ago. No one really even heard that much about the UN SDGs, but I just believed it was a framework for us to rally around. So as a result of that, we did quite a bit of UN SDG work last year, and we really thank you very much for the recognition. When we begin this webinar or begin our session today, in that Artemis project did win a UN SDG award, which is very, very, very odd, or not odd. It was unusual and beautiful gift at the same time to show we are on the right track. So within our Artemis member, we have lots of diversity and inclusivity. People think because we're women and maybe because I'm white and older that we all look like us, and thank God we don't. We really encourage, our culture is we will not let any woman entrepreneur be on their own. We are inviting and welcoming and safe space, and we encourage all women entrepreneurs in mining to be a part of us. And so this, our culture, we're very proud of it. And it continues to get more diverse and inclusive each and every single day. And I happen to think that that's the only way to live. We all bring something very unique to the table, and it's how we can harness each and every one of our gifts to bring about greater change that's needed. So again, I want to thank you for recognizing our UN SDG award. The award that we were recognized for was the People's Choice Award. So again, that shows each and every single one of you, you know what? You've got industries out there wanting your participation and supporting your participation and wanting you to come into their industry and bring your talents. So again, we're really happy about that. Another thing I want to share with you. So we've spent quite a bit of time during startup phase, and now Artemis is at a stage where it's going from startup to scale up. And I'm sharing this as an example, and you're all welcome to participate if you'd like to join us on March 8th. Does anyone know what March 8th is? Yes. March 8th is International Women's Day. March 8th is also the first day of one of our largest mining conferences ever. Um, and I think it was actually just after this big conference last year, we all went into lockdown. But March 8th, 2021 is a signatory day for us. So we are coming to market together with a really significant progressive mining company. And we're going to talk about what we've been able to do in mining, what the women entrepreneurs are focused are, how mining is supporting this effort, and recent new sponsors that we brought on, new mining companies, and then we're going to launch a very significant initiative. So just before I get to that, I'll also let you know we are now moving into women in mining in Russia. NCIS, and we're planning that for later on in April. So again, the pulls I'm just sharing with you as you're an entrepreneur, and once you start getting traction, you can't slow it down. And this is the kind of traction you've been waiting for and building for the past 3.5 years. And when it happens, it is, I don't even know if there's a word to describe it. It's unbelievable. So now I'm going to give you a bit more focus on what is an entrepreneur? What's entrepreneurship? What's a woman in STEM entrepreneur look like? What are some of the things that, successful traits? And then we're going to open it up to question and answer. So I look at entrepreneurship as this. To me, it's like Alice in Wonderland. And you can tell by my visuals. Alice in Wonderland, you go down that rabbit hole. You have no idea really what's there. You've got a hypothesis. You've got an idea. You thinking what you'd like to do, but really, it's really jump in down the rabbit hole. You're going to hang on and grab things as you go. It's full of unpredictability, uncertainty, and wonder. And if you think about what our world is going through right now, has gone through and continues to go through for the last year, there's one conclusion we make as entrepreneurs. This is our world every day. So almost when COVID hit, it's like we almost turned things up a notch because we thrive in this uncertainty. We thrive in unpredictability. And of course, finding the wonder in all of it. So all this to say is I personally believe being an entrepreneur is incredible, resilient way and a career that builds your resilience nonstop, because there is nothing certain. Not that there's that much certain in life overall, but certainly as an entrepreneur, it is going down the rabbit hole. So what do I mean? What's a woman in STEM entrepreneur look like? Well, generally, here's what I've found. They start early. Some start early in their career. They know for whatever reason that they want to run their own business very early. And some start after. They go in, they work for maybe a large engineering firm. They gain corporate experience, training, etc. And then they start after they get frustrated. Why do they get frustrated? Well, they get frustrated because they have ideas and they don't feel that their ideas are able to get out and explored and implemented. Some get frustrated because of lifestyle. It becomes so in some work environments, and certainly from tech, it was for some people, it's all about the hours. Who gets in the earliest? Who stays the latest? How many hours do you work? And that's very frustrating. And personally, it's non-productive. And there's so much more to life than working hours. However, that can be the game in a corporate environment. So you get frustrated. Some get frustrated because you may start your family and it just doesn't work for your family in the way that you want it to work by your terms. So you get frustrated, and that frustration turns into this ball of get up and go that you've never seen before to become an entrepreneur. Because there's one thing as an entrepreneur, you have full creative license. It's all up to you. All of it's up to you. So I say full creative license. For what I mean further by that is it is freedom. It is ultimate freedom. Because you decide what you want to do every single day. It's up to you. Some might find maybe that's overwhelming to think about. I certainly appreciate that. However, often that piece of freedom that you start getting into, you can never give up. I left a corporate environment, I think about 36. I was 36, 37. I just cannot imagine anything but an entrepreneurial lifestyle. And you would expect me to say that. So, what else? Often they start as consultants. Many of the entrepreneurs start as a consultant. They get frustrated and then they go just start doing some work, self-employed as a consultant. After they become a consultant, they go, yeah, okay, you know what? I really like this. I enjoy this, but now I want to build a business. And so they say, okay, how do I take my consultant, my credentials, and build a business for myself? So what does that look like? Well, one of the first things I think every entrepreneur should get support, because getting off the ground is tough. It's the toughest stage. That's okay. I mean, you're all up for tough. You're in STEM, so you can do it. All I'm saying is that at the beginning, get support, because it's tough. And it can be lonely if you're by yourself. It can be a situation, settings where you doubt yourself. And you know what? We all do. But you feel like you're the only one if you're all working by yourself, versus coming into a collective where you can say, oh my gosh, I was doubting about this, or I did that. And you can be open and share. And you'll be shocked to know that whatever you're going through, most of us are going through that as well. Shocked and delighted. It's not you. So you will want to be perfect. That's one thing I can say about women in STEM. You are extremely detailed, you're extremely comprehensive, and you generally have this thing called A drivers, and you want perfection. So all I'm going to say about that is it will never be perfect. Life is not perfect. And that's okay. That's good. I'm just saying, you will learn if you find yourself relating that you are a perfectionist. Being an entrepreneur is going to help you with that. Guaranteed. And we can support each other. We can support each other through every single stage and phase. And that's what I've seen nonstop within Artemis, within Women on the Move, within women. So just getting off the ground can take up to 2 years. You think about, oh, wow, they're really getting traction, It's an overnight success. There is no such thing as an overnight success. You work, you keep working, you try things, you just keep going, and you will get it. So, and then people will say, oh my gosh, you're really taken off. Well, thank goodness, because I've been doing it for 3 or 4 years. I highly recommend, if anyone's even thinking about being an entrepreneur, or are an entrepreneur and want to, look at more resourcing, we really believe, and I personally align with, lean startup. That's not the lean in program, it's lean startup methodology. And that's an excellent, because what it says, it's all about getting started. And getting started, your first action is to develop an MVP. And an MVP means most viable product. That's your first job. And then your second job is to get a client. And you'll notice I didn't say in here your first job is to go find funding. Your first job is to go find resources. Everybody thinks, oh, women are getting tons of money to start businesses. No, we're not. And that's okay. When Bill Gates started, he didn't go after funding. When Steve Jobs started, he didn't go and look for funding. You develop an MVP and you go get a client. And I'll tell you why. I believe that's the best. Entrepreneur is leadership. Entrepreneurship is leading. You are leading. And what you do is you're leading thinking. I'm just going off here because I did have another. Yes, sorry, I'm backward. It is leadership. You have an idea. Usually your idea involves change, because you've seen a gap in the marketplace, and entrepreneurship is about solving a problem. You see a problem and no one's solving it, and you are going to start a business and solve that problem. So it's your job as an entrepreneur. You lead the idea, you lead the change. And what does really that mean? You're a change maker, and you mobilize change and for people to act. That's what an entrepreneurship does, or an entrepreneur does. You mobilize people to take action. And I just want to share, because why I say that the beginning stages are the most, can be the toughest, because one thing that humans don't like, anybody have any idea? Change. Change. Most resist change. However, it's a good thing, because we've got market adoption models that tell us all about this and show us how, when you come to market, this is how the market is going to adopt your solutions. And the very first people that will adopt them are innovators, which innovators represent 2.5% of the market. So what I'm saying here is that entrepreneurs generally, when they come, they say, oh, but my market's huge and I have all these people that I can go to. And we help them see, no, you don't. You're introducing change, and you have to go find the 2.5% that are going to resonate, align, and make the change with you. So what does that mean? Well, entrepreneur, the process then really becomes about experimenting, co-creating, co-learning, collaboration, improving, and repeating this process over and over and over and over. And once you then repeat it enough, you've improved it enough, then you'll get to something that you believe is a solid solution that now you can scale across the marketplace. So I'm just going to share here. It's just some of the visuals. When the women come together, we do all kinds of events together, ranging from panel discussions, publicizing things together, doing publications. We enjoy celebrating together, but all of this activity in together. There's no other forum, you as your own entrepreneur cannot possibly put all this together. So that's why I really encourage anyone thinking about this is getting involved with an entrepreneurial organization to get connected, because it is just magic what you do when you're connected. So lastly, I'd like to share with you. So I've told you a little bit about Artemis and how we started up, how we're growing so fast now because the time is right. The time is right, that the environment, we've got our innovators that have adopted us, and now we're scaling. So on March 8th, we will be announcing, again, on International Women's Day and our first day of major mining trade show, a 50 mil movement. And that movement is 50 million. We want to see, and we will drive 50 million in procurement with women entrepreneurs in mining by 2025. Our overall goal is to do 100 million by 2030, but we want to start with 5-year goals. So we're really excited. We're getting ramped up and being in a position to announce that on March 8th. And never before has anything like that ever been done in mining. So once again, we're bringing in disruption because we're disruptors. We don't agree with the status quo. And it's not that we just don't agree with it. We've got a better solution. We have better ways. And that's what we're bringing to market. So I'd like to leave you with why Artemis. I can tell you when I first started Artemis, I wonder if I have it here. I didn't call it Artemis. In fact, I called it, because I'm from a very corporate background. Can you see this? It's called Partners in Prosperity, Social Capital Leadership for the Mining and Metals Industry, a big corporate boring title. And you know what the women entrepreneurs said? Heather, that's really big and boring. We need it. We want you to come up with an identity for us. We're going to be a force. And I'm, okay, well, all right. What do you want to call it? What do you want? Because I'm my corporate background. And they said, well, they thought, they came back and they said, we like Artemis. And I said, what? What's an Artemis? Artemis is the goddess of the hunt, goddess of the hunt. And she's the goddess not only of the hunt, she oversees, and nature is vital to her. She never married, and she takes care of children. Okay, cool. I like that alignment. I can go with that. But I said, you expect me, because I go in and have conversations with CEOs of large mining companies. And again, remember what I said, the most laggard industry with respect to women. So I said, what you're telling me is you want to be called Artemis and you want me to talk to CEOs of mining companies about a Greek goddess. And they said, absolutely, we do. I said, okay, you got it. I can share with you today, I can't imagine being called anything but Artemis. It has just been really. And so this is my essence to you of Artemis. And Artemis is a strong woman that looks a challenge dead in the eye and she gives it a wink. So the road's been paved and it's up to each and every one of you now have the opportunity to deepen it, broaden it, and you absolutely inspire others to follow your lead doing purposeful work. That's where I'd like to end and say, at the end of the day, I think it's all about doing work that is meaningful to you. That's what's important. That's what I've seen will bring on a passion that you don't even know where it comes from. So I want you to be bold. I want you to change the world, and I want you to do it together because you can. And women in STEM are highly needed. You scientists, you technologists, engineers, geologists. I know I'm just even covering such a small segment of you, but you are the architects of our generation, and you have all the power to come together and do things differently. So I'd like to stop right there, stop sharing my screen, and opening it up to any good question and any questions, comments, suggestions.
Before we dive into the Q&A, could we ask everyone or whoever is comfortable to please put on your video, and then we'll just take a screenshot. There you go. It's her. While Heather catches her breath, it was an amazing presentation. And we have a lot of questions, by the way. Okay.
Good. Good.
Here goes the screenshot. 20 seconds for you to join. All right.
That's okay.
Smile. Okay, you made it, Leslie. All right, great. So I'm going to turn the table to Marcia for the questions. And please continue putting your questions in the chat.
Thank you, Heather, for your great presentation. It was really inspiring. Yeah, it was great. Thank you for sharing your story. Yeah, thank you. Any questions?
Welcome. Oh, do you want me to read some of the questions in the chat and answer them, or which way do you want me to do it?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, for sure. My name is.
Maybe we'll start with Raksha. When you started, Heather, did you feel passionate about solving the problem in mining industry? Is there a good way to find the best problem to solve, like a catalog of problems? Ooh, I love that.
That's a great question. So what I find, and I started another business, but I really believe you start a business because you're pissed off about something, you see a different way, you're frustrated about something, you see a problem. So and generally because, and I just say that term, pardon my language, that you're pissed off about something, but that shows like it really touches your heart and soul and mind in some way because you're up, it bothers you. So then you say, well, if it bothers me, like it bothered me when I saw women becoming entrepreneurs, and I went to different places and I felt they were very male dominated. I felt they were very biased, and that bothered me. And I thought, how can women are not going to survive? They're not going to thrive in these places and I just thought, okay, well, I'm going to start my own. So so I didn't start by saying, oh, I'm going to go to mining. I didn't even know anything about mining. Not that I know a lot now, but I didn't know a thing. I just knew I wanted to advance women. I know the power of a woman. And I feel that women are still treated less than, still told, well, you know, women aren't confident, women aren't risk takers. And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? We marry and have children. What are you talking about is riskier than having children, as an example, among many, many things. So I just kept hearing this rhetoric and narrative out there saying women this, women that. And I thought, you know what? Stop telling us what we are. I'm going to get out there and tell the women what we are, because we are freaking fantastic. So your passion will come if you have a problem you really care about, in a nutshell.
Great. I always heard about passion, but not being pissed off and working through a problem. So, how did you overcome the hurdle of meeting minimum requirements by the corporations as a supplier?
Oh, I do it totally different. Totally different. I went in right to CEOs, and I didn't work in. So again, as an entrepreneur, you disrupt things. I didn't follow normal process. I made my own process and said, I'm going to go right to the CEO. He, because they're mostly he's in mining, is going to understand that there's incredible women in this industry and we have to raise their visibility. And so I just saw that as my job. And then we start co-creating. And I can share with you, one of the first progressive minds of a CEO in mining, very large company, he said, are you sure, Heather, there's these women in entrepreneurs in mining? He said, what kind of businesses do they do? Are they in food? So why I share that with you is food is essential, of course, but I'm sharing that because this was an individual that was progressive thinker, and his vision of what a woman entrepreneur is someone that does a catering business. So, hey, again, we need catering. But I said, are you like, these are top-notch PhD corrosion engineers who have come from years of experience, years of education, driving, blah, blah, blah. I mean, they are premium in all different ways. And, oh, okay, it was a shock to them. So I thought, I'm onto something. So I just keep breaking the process and inventing my own.
Wow. One question here. Oh, I lost it. Hold on.
Can I just comment? I love that you all love the symbology of Artemis. We're just starting to we're creating a ring, and then even moving on to another jewel, like some maybe bracelets. We're working with a forge over in Sweden. And I said to the team this morning, I said, I see Artemis jewelry collection as a means and demonstration of that essence of Artemis is going to go around the world. So thank you for validating that you too like the essence in the name and in the interpretation.
So I'm going to read this question from Jasmine. It says, she's not sure if she missed this, but have you created a toolkit or model that other procurement professionals can apply to their roles in their organizations?
Great question, Jasmine. No, I haven't. And that's a great question. What we are doing, and here's the vision really with Artemis, is we will be best in class with our model, our entrepreneur, the outcomes. We'll focus on mining, I say for the next 2 years, getting best in class. Once we believe we've reached that best in class, then we're going to move over into other industries and set up something similar for them.
All right. It's 12:58, and this is fantastic. We have many questions, but maybe you can. Are you on Twitter, Heather? Artemis is on Twitter, right?
Yeah, we just started. We have an amazing student, Ainsley, that works with us, and she's in environmental studies at U of T. And she said, "You've got to get on Twitter. You've got to get on Instagram."
Yes, our
Remember,
Instagram, so we can ask our questions on Twitter and Instagram. I'm just mindful of the time.
Yep.
I know that people are taking breaks for their lunch, and so I'm going to pass the microphone to Marzia to do the closing.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining our event tonight. And this was the last brown bag session for this season. And we will start the brown bag, I think, in April. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Heather. Thank you really for sharing your story about and you're inspired. I think you inspire me and I think inspire all of us. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Just go for it. Don't hold back at all, and don't listen to anybody that tries to hold you back. Bye, everybody. See you on the 8th.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.